I want you to feel like a Greek god. That's the only way I can describe the feeling you get when your content creation is just humming and you're cranking out content 10, 20, 50 times faster than your competition and your forum mates and everybody else around you, and it's just working. You feel like Zeus, but instead of lightning bolts, you are throwing content left and right. It is such an empowering feeling. Such a big part of that feeling is having remarkable clarity around your business, around your industry, and around your own expertise. Content creation is nature's way of showing you how sloppy your thinking is. When you have to sit there and wrestle with this stuff and come up with new ideas, all of a sudden you gain insights that you never knew you had. It is such a great feeling when your peers are looking at you as the insightful one, as the thought leader. I want that for you. So the first thing I want to talk to you about before we dive into the tactical, how to create different types of content, is there are 5 key sort of mindset shifts. Mastering these is the difference between when someone asks you, do you do content marketing or how's your marketing? Being able to go like, yeah, kind of, we do. And being able to go like, yeah, we do. Number 1 is programming strategy versus production strategy. In my last kind of life, in my last business, I ran a production company and I obsessed over production strategy, right? How was the music going to affect the piece? How was the art direction? I remember one time standing in Lowe's looking at pale green colors of paint, just stressing over which shade of pale green was best going to help people convert to MailChimp. Right? It is the details that you obsess over that, quite frankly, put me as a leader in my field. And, I was one of the best in the world at that. But then I started working with a Fortune 20 company, and they were putting out so much content, I got to see a whole other side of things. And so programming strategy, this isn't programming like a nerd sitting on a laptop. This is programming in the TV sense of the word, right? So when Netflix goes to buy a bunch of shows, they're thinking about different audiences and do they have content for those audiences? What's going to be the hits? Can't afford everything to be hit high production value stuff. So maybe we need some stuff to fill in and increase watch time and retention down below. And how does it all fit together? It is that kind of thinking of strategy across the board when you're thinking about large volumes of content and how they all fit together. So that was the first shift, is you have to take your mind out of the trees and look at the whole forest. Number 2 is get your team involved. Notice I didn't say put it off on your team. I've never seen anyone who's successful at creating thought leadership content without the thought leader doing a lot of the creation. At the same time, it is so key that if you want to really do this at scale, you can't do it all yourself. Okay, number 3 is kind of related, and it's something I like to call the creation triangle. So as you start out, you need someone to do the creating itself. And so in our field, we call that a director. That is the person actually doing the shooting, responsible for the creative act of creating it. Pretty quickly, you realize you need a producer. So a producer is the kind of film industry's term for a project manager, right? And this is what I preached for a long time, is having both of these people makes the process work. But what I've seen over the years is the team needs held accountable, almost like a scrum master in Scrum or something like that. And so with this triangle, we call it the strategist. Really, the strategist is a less threatening term for boss. And also why we call it the strategist is this is the person who's typically setting the cadence and the strategy and all that kind of side of things. But they're the ones who need this thing to happen, right? They have a need for the content. The producer has a need to stay on the director's butt about it. And the director has the need to create. Right? As long as there's that triangle there and they're all working together to create this content, to get it out, to make sure things happen, right? If it's just the director and the strategist, then there's no project manager to manage it, to post it, all that kind of stuff. So you really do need all 3. So you may be asking, what do you do when you're the boss and you want to create content? Well, so what I do is I'm the director, right? I'm here self-filming this today, for example. Now my EA has been bugging me about it. It's on the calendar. I know that it's going to happen, all of that kind of stuff. So I have that producer kind of project manager built in there, as well as my forum is the strategist. So I will make bets with my forum, like I've got to do this on time, or it's $500, $1,000, whatever. And so that kind of keeps me accountable, but maybe you're just self-disciplined enough to do it. I'm not. I want to make sure the content goes out, so that's why I use the content triangle. Habit number 4 is cadence over calendar. This is one of those that if you get this right, it is game changing. So everyone preaches the importance of having a great content calendar, and that's pretty standard in the content industry. Agencies love creating content calendars because next month they have to create another one, and they get to charge you for that as well. So if you've ever read Atomic Habits or any Simon Sinek stuff on finite games versus infinite games, it's all the same concept. But the idea is if I want to lose 50 pounds, that's a goal, right? That's a kind of singular outcome. And every day I wake up, I fail at that goal until the one day that I've lost 50 pounds, and then I have to go search for a new goal. What is better is having this strategy, or in this case, a cadence, right? And so the idea is like if I'm just going to eat 1,300 calories a day or whatever, then I know I'm going to eat healthier every day. And if I fail one day, I can pick it up the next day and do it again and succeed that day. How this looks in content is creating a cadence. So I know that every Tuesday, for example, our head of training is going to send out a production 2-minute tips kind of video to all of our customers. And so they're constantly getting educated on how to use the equipment and how to make videos better and that kind of stuff. And I know that like that happens every Tuesday at noon, right? And so it's this scheduled thing. I do a monthly workshop with people that's live. And so I know that like strategy is happening on a monthly basis. And so once you figure out that cadence, I don't have to worry about like, 3 months from now, what are we gonna do? Like I know that on Tuesday at noon, 3 months from now, Nick's gonna send out a 2-minute tip and I'm gonna do a workshop kind of thing. It's just so much better because content calendars run out, and if you're creating content at scale, you don't have time for that. And lastly, number 5 is kind of a fun one. It took me years to learn this until someone pointed it out, but viral, like the idea of going viral, is really more about energy transfer than anything else. If you're in a good mood, that will come through. So one of the ways that I do this is I've got a Spotify playlist that is music junk food, right? It is just like high energy, dancey pop kind of stuff that I'm too ashamed to tell you what's on it. Baby, you're a It's just so fun and energetic, and it gets me in the right mood. And so I'll throw in my AirPods, I'll go behind a corner somewhere in the office where nobody can see me, and I'll just have like a 60-second, 2-minute dance party. For writing, I'll do something similar where I will take an article that I love and copy it, like literally word for word, just open up Google Docs and just type it out, or some people like handwriting it out. But this technique of just kind of getting in the right mindset, I want it to sound like this piece, so I'm just gonna take a minute and copy it and get in that tone of voice. And when you're in a great mood, it will absolutely come through in your content. So there are the 5 habits of the scaling mindset. Let's dive into how to actually put these to work and do some writing.